Performative charity. That is what Meghan Markle does. Yes, maybe perhaps somewhere in her heart, she is doing charitable works for the good of helping others. But at the same time, Meghan Markle has a long track record of doing charity events just merely to support and highlight herself and her own benevolence. And we see this definitely reflected in the latest Archwell stunt with Harry and Meghan right before the holidays, where they participated in a corporate event at Our Big Kitchen Los Angeles, which has quite a few connections to the businesses Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are tied to. So make really no mistake here. This was all about promoting Meghan, all about promoting a little bit Archwell, Harry, and the kids. But as ever, Meghan Markle always needs the attention from charitable events to really be on herself. So the true catchphrase of Archwell should be show up and serve Meghan. So we are going to get into this latest Thanksgiving stunt. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network before, my name is Brittany. I do provide compelling royal commentary. So hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you back. And I did a video yesterday posted on Royal Fashion News about 12 items that are on a gift list that are inspired by Catherine, the Princess of Wales. I'm actually wearing one of them today, which is the velvet bow from Jennifer Behr. So if you guys want to check that out, all the options here for this holiday season, feel free to click the link up above. And the Ana Lucia Black Friday sale is still going on here, guys. So if you want to get the Royal News Network necklace, it is 30% off with the Black Friday deal. You add an additional 20% with the code ROYAL20, and you have quite a deal. So if you guys want to check that out, these are the final days. So definitely go ahead and do that. They won't arrive in time for Christmas and necklaces, but you can get yours ordered as a little Christmas present for yourself or a Christmas present that may arrive sometime later. But these are absolutely amazing. Again, I'm wearing my gold one today because it fit with my little gold buttons here, gold earrings. So again, if you guys want to check that out, again, these are the final days. So definitely go ahead and check that out. But let's get to this latest event. And as I was thinking about this particular video, it brought to mind other times that Meghan Markle has essentially utilized tragedy, charity, what have you, to promote herself. And so we're going to look at this latest instance, and then we're going to really take a trip back in the time machine for when Meghan Markle showed up at Uvalde, Texas for no other reason than self promotion. And I think that colors everything Meghan Markle does. Everything is about self promotion. Everything is about herself. This is why they are, let's say, targeting online bullying and using the grief of parents to target social media companies. It's to protect Meghan Markle from being, quote unquote, in her belief, the most trolled person on the internet. It's not because of out of the benevolence of just helping family members impacted. You cannot separate Meghan Markle's benefit from perhaps utilizing the grief of parents and family members. Again, think of how disgusting this is. Utilizing the grief of parents who have lost their children to online harms. And it covers a wide variety of spectrums. This is not just bullying. This includes drug use and various other things. Meghan is using those parents to push her own agenda. And so we see this reflected here as well. And when you actually look into a bit of this charity here, Our Big Kitchen, what you see is that not only is this connected just simply to Archwell now, but to a lot of other companies and organizations that Harry and Meghan have a connection to. So again, is this really because this is what Harry and Meghan were led to do? Or was it popular with Netflix, William Morrison Endeavor, CAA, and other places in Hollywood that Meghan wants to connect to? So if she thinks that she connects to this particular organization, that, hey, she might get ahead elsewhere for her own benefit. But again, let's look at the actual pictures here that Archwell provided. And it again reflects, I think, how this is really self-centered on Meghan. So here we have the Our Big Kitchen team and the Archwell team. They're working together here. And what we see as well is this really weirdness of Harry and Meghan. Like he's basically groping her a little bit. And it's sort of unnecessary and puts so much emphasis on them. If they stood normally with this crowd without hanging all over each other, it might just seem like, hey, this is a company thing. But by grabbing each other to such an extent and putting on the performance of love and affection, by extension, they're sharing the message of, oh, we are the center of attention here. This is all about us. And it's not a surprise because Meghan, everything she does is not about charity. And I really want to drive this point home because her fans will go, oh, she's so charitable. What charity are you doing? Doesn't matter what I'm doing. The actual really important thing here, and something that I think gets ignored too often, is that sometimes people do charity not to help others, but as a performance to help themselves. It's very much an influencery thing to make a performance out of charity to get the social media likes and clicks and attention and the positive accolades. Oh my gosh, you're so charitable. That's not what charity should be about. Should be about the movement in your heart and wanting to help others for the audience of not the rest of the world. But in my personal opinion, it's in honor of God. So you are doing it for God and for not, let's say, necessarily accolades, but because He leads you to do something, not because you're putting on a performance for others. That's when charity, I think, moves from the realm of sort of doing good for the sake of doing good to doing good for personal benefit. There's actually sort of a funny little episode of Friends way back in the day where Phoebe is trying to do something and prove to Joey that charity can be a completely selfless act. And she actually has a hard time proving that.
I just wanted to do a good deed, like you did with the babies.
This isn't a good deed. You just want to get on TV. This is totally selfish.
Well, yeah, it was a really nice thing and all, but it made you feel really good, right?
Yeah, so?
Well, it made you feel good, so that makes it selfish. Look, there's no unselfish good deed, sorry.
And yes, there is an effect of, let's say there's a disaster somewhere and you go and help with the disaster relief. Seeing you do it might encourage others. So it's not necessarily bad to show yourself helping in the midst of crisis because it may inspire others to go and help in the midst of something as well. However, if you sort of think about it, if you are, let's say, attempting to just show that you have an interest here and going and spending 2 seconds helping with a disaster so you can get the photo up and then hightailing it somewhere else or not really helping, then really it becomes about the photo shoot attached to it, not about actually helping people. So again, Meghan Markle definitely fits the bill of just helping thyself. So they shared the big kitchen. And then I found this a little weird. They're really promoting Archwell here because all the Archwell people had to wear Archwell aprons. And so it's like, okay, are you there to really encourage team building? Or are you just there to promote yourselves and your organization? Because, yeah, let's say the charity is willing to let you do that, but is that really the best look? I don't think so. So next picture we have is Harry and Meghan, and we have their two kids being sucked into this nonsense as well. And Harry's wearing the big kitchen hat, whereas Meghan is wearing, of course, the Archwell hat because it's all about self-promotion. And we're getting the pictures of the two of them working because it's really about showing them working, not their team. And of course, as many have pointed out, Meghan's hair is not properly tied up because you can't have her looking bad. This is for the photo shoot. So her hair has to be down. It can't be up because if it's down, then she might look better than when it's up. Because again, this is not about helping others. There are other things you could do. So now we show the Archwell aprons here next to the big kitchen ones. And then this again, all about the two of them because it's more important to show them working and packing these things, not Meghan. Meghan's not even packing. Her hair's a hairy mess over here. She can't even pack. It's not regulatory. If she really wanted to help, her hair should be up in a bun, in a hairnet, like, normal people. Then we have the meals that they created. I don't even know if they can use them, to be quite honest. And then we're back, of course, to the cutting of the peppers. And then this is one of the pictures that Meghan had on her stories. And again, it's all about Meghan and Lilibet. And they're doing that because it's all really about Meghan. And she's obsessed with Lilibet and doesn't seem to care at all about Archie. And so we have her very much again, huge part of the performance. They also shared this picture. I think those were the only two. And Harry's really the one working. Why? Because Meghan's not really working. I was just curious what we could see there here. It looks like maybe somebody's playing with the kids. Maybe that's the nanny over there. I don't know. And another thing that's weird that I didn't recognize until as I was editing is that with Archie and Lily there, it really actually destroys the element of team building you're supposed to have. Because if not everyone is allowed to bring their kids, then Harry and Meghan are utilizing this charity event, again, really to promote their family, not the charity, not their team. Because there's no reason why Archie and Lily should be at a corporate team building event. They're not part of the team. They're children. And if not everybody's children can come, what's the point? And you should create an environment where everybody's kids can come and help at the same time. So again, Harry and Meghan totally missing the mark here. This could be Archie. And I don't want any speculation on the kids. This is not about, oh, the kids look different heights or the colors of their hair or whatever. I don't care. Don't want any conversation about that. Doesn't matter. But this again, all about the performance. Let's move over to One Big Kitchen page. So we're on the corporate team building thing. So you can actually see right here. So this costs $3,000 to do. So you make 300 meals and 600 cookies by your team. So the duration is 2 hours. So it's a team building exercise. And so, and again, you see $3,000 here. And what I found really interesting is that when you actually look at all the companies associated with this, what you see is Netflix, Creative Artists Agencies, so CAA, like a huge talent agency in Hollywood, NBC Universal, William Morris and Endeavor, and then, of course, the Archwell Foundation. And I just found this really interesting that so many companies that Meghan Markle is trying to work with and connect with or whatever also have done this. So you feel like almost that this is something that's been created or designed to sort of go along with the things that have previously been done before. So could you say this is really an independent thought or that this is something that Meghan's put together herself out of just simply the goodness of her heart? I would argue the answer is no. This is done as a way for her to, again, try to get connected with Netflix, William Morrison, Endeavor, and all these sorts of places because it makes her look good. But why do we know that Meghan Markle sees every charity event as performative? It is a performative act for charity, not, I would argue, real charity. So the first and most obvious is Uvalde, Texas. And Meghan Markle very, very famously flew out in the days after the shooting there, where elementary school children died. And she flew out there to bring them cheap Costco snacks. They were not anything super impressive. They were things basically anybody could go and get at Costco. So she flew out to basically get them cheap food for the volunteers. And then very famously paraded herself in front of the cameras at a memorial to the children. Now, think about Meghan Markle flying out there. Why did she do that? Why did she do it? Why did she need to do it? What help could she offer? Because if you really think about it, Meghan Markle has no experience in grief counseling, knows nothing about the aftermath of a shooting, knows nothing about the actual needs of the community because she doesn't live there. She's not from Texas. So she has no connection there at all. Her reasoning for going, and what we heard about her reasoning was for going, is that she's a mom. Well, Meghan, I believe there are millions of mothers in the United States. I don't see what you as a mother has to do anything with children being killed at their school in Texas. There's no connection there whatsoever. And so when she went, she is literally thinking in her mind that somehow her very presence can help people who lost their children or their community was impacted by a mass shooting. The narcissism in that is off the charts. She is simply a woman with a royal title living in California, and she somehow thinks her very presence at the memorial for dead children is somehow helping anyone. No, no, no. It is all for Meghan. It's all for Meghan. There is absolutely no reason why she couldn't have her assistant place the flowers if it was really about honoring the children. She sees the photographers and go, "No, I don't want to make it about me. Make it about the children and the families. You go place the roses. I will pray or meditate or whatever the heck in my car." She went out there so the press knew she was there. They could get pictures of her being there, videos of her being there. And then her freaking assistant is comforting her as she walks away because, it was so emotional. For why? Just because you're a mom? So it's every mother in the United States feels a bit of that, but they don't have the self-righteousness, the obsession, the narcissism to go and think their very presence simply for being a mom makes any difference in the lives of these families that have been impacted. I mean, again, think of the insanity levels you would have to believe that you could waltz into a community suffering the effects of a mass shooting and believe you can help just simply by showing up in ripped jeans, a white t-shirt, and a baseball hat. Even people who were connected to the community just sent money because the people in the community know better than a two-bit duchess from California who lives in a $15 million mansion and would rather spend $100,000 on the private jet than give $100,000 to the families who have been impacted. Because it's all about Meghan. It's not about the charity, it's about Meghan. And we had another instance of it this year. So Harry and Meghan were in Pasadena helping the fire victims. Now, of course, we did see them parade around the remains of people's homes, which was disgusting that they were getting a tour because even people who lived there oftentimes aren't allowed back due to sort of risks with their health, security, because people will go through and loot homes. And so Harry and Meghan got this ridiculous tour. Why? I don't know. They can't help. They don't have Elon Musk level money. So they could only give you a little bit. And then they are at this event and they are passing out food to people. And there was a camera crew that happened to catch them working, but nobody knew it was them. Now, maybe somebody would have figured that out later, but they were wearing masks, t-shirts, baseball hats. And so it didn't stick out to as being them. They didn't have anything Archwell on or whatever. And so the whole reality was you might have figured out they were there, but it wasn't so obvious they were there. But then things changed. As they were getting ready to leave, all of a sudden, Harry and Meghan parked themselves in front of a news team. There was a news team there, just one single news team, and Harry and Meghan parked themselves so that the news crew could get full-on shots of them being charitable and talking to the Jose guy who's part of World Central Kitchen or whatever. Because then it became about the performance and it became about letting the world know that Princess Markle was there, y'all. Princess Markle's making it all better. She parked herself there to get the freaking attention because it was more important to Meghan Markle to get the attention for being charitable than actually being charitable. Until she did that, I think her and Harry could have had a rather anonymous time in Pasadena, actually giving out food and attempting to help people. But Meghan can't help but make it about herself. And part of it is, I think, a way to shield herself from criticism because it's oh, and again, I hear it from her fans. She's being so charitable. Why don't you like her? Look, she's doing charity. But again, charity should come from the heart. And what we have also seen with Meghan is somebody who does not exhibit charity to those who should be nearest and dearest to her. And of course, this includes her father, who she's essentially abandoned and hasn't talked to in 8 years or whatever, 7, 8 years since her wedding, because I think she never intended or wanted him to be there, and I think she firmly is embarrassed by him and doesn't really want the attention of being with her overweight dad. And he's also white, which doesn't fit her narrative because again, everybody's racist. So if she's half white and has a white father, that kind of diminishes the angle of racism she's gone with. And then we also have famously her in-laws. Her grandfather-in-law is dying in the hospital and she's telling the world that his family are racist on Oprah Winfrey in an internationally televised interview. Charity starts at home. Charity doesn't start really with people who are strangers to you because sometimes it's easy. This is the thing. It's so much easier to have relationships with people you don't really know. Sometimes, people are shocked. Sometimes you have a conversation with somebody and you spill like this deep, dark secret to them. They're a total stranger, but you do it sometimes because it's like, I will never see that person again. They have zero connection to me. And so it becomes more of a transactional dynamic and one you are easily able to forget. And I feel like the same comes from the performative charity Meghan does. Meghan does this performative charity. And I think some people are generally kind of swept up in, oh my gosh, she's a duchess. I mean, you got to remember there was a whole family in Uvalde, Texas, where Harry and Meghan like went to their grandmother's birthday party and presented the cake. Like it was weird. It was super, super weird and bizarre. But they do it because it's all part of the performance, all part of getting accolades from strangers rather than doing the more challenging thing, which means getting accolades from your family members. Because Harry and Meghan never want to be held accountable for their actions. They never want people to tell them, hey, you really hurt my feelings. I want you to apologize. I want you to mean it. And we won't have a better relationship until you do. Harry and Meghan just can't abide by that because to them, everything is transactional and they don't want to have those deep, meaningful relationships. And when I see their charity, I don't see somebody actually helping others. I only ever see Harry and Meghan wanting to help themselves and avoid the criticism that they face pretty consistently from the public for their deplorable behavior. So guys, let me know what you think about this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget about Anna Lucia here, and I shall speak to you again very soon. Bye.